Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers recap and reaction and analysis to the Pittsburgh Steelers 17-10 win over the Baltimore Ravens on Saturday. Pittsburgh ending the 2023 regular season at 10-7, and now they await to find out their playoff fate. Will they get the help they need? We'll see. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. So, a messy, ugly, rainy, dreary game. It's typical Steelers-Ravens, physical, looking for that big play late, close overall, even though Baltimore, sat many of their starters, including stars like Roquan Smith, Lamar Jackson, Marlon Humphrey, etc. So, had they had their guys, different story, probably, but the game is what it was. And for Pittsburgh, it was what it needed to be overall, and I'm trying to make sense of this whole thing. But Pittsburgh running the ball well, effectively. Najee Harris really became the lead back. Jalen Warren had the ball security issues. It was issues across the board. Harris had that near fumble on the first snap, so it was not exclusive to Warren, but you just had probably a little more trust in Najee Harris in this one. And similar story to the Seattle game, maybe not as gaudy, didn't have the crazy runs that Harris had, but the line really blocked well. I thought they've been just really physical at the point of attack, just really coming on strong, similar to last year, but probably even better than last year in terms of the run blocking, in terms of the push they were generating up front, and really winning the point of attack. And listen, the Ravens played basically the starting D-line. Madubuike was out there for at least part of the game. He got pancaked by Isaac Seumalo on Harris' touchdown. So you talk about, that one of the top D tackles in the game getting just smushed by, Malu that opened up the lane for Harris. And, Pittsburgh did not run a single gap run that first month of the season. And thank goodness they reversed course. They were so zone heavy, not super effective at it. And they've really kind of leaned on their counter and power and heavy personnel. But they've been much better at heavy personnel too. Early in the season, they would be heavy, and their production was really inefficient. And I think they match the personnel to the style. You're going to be in heavy with multiple tight ends, run power, pull the guard, pull the tackle on dart schemes. And Pittsburgh has overall done that really effectively. The tight ends have also just blocked better too. That is a playing factor. Healthier Freiermuth is, and Washington has been finding his groove, and Connor Hayward has been making some plays in the boot game as well. So that was critical. Had to run the ball effectively just in general for Pittsburgh, but certainly in conditions the way that it was. Rudolph, there were the fumbles, and the line didn't have the greatest time in protection, the tackles especially, Dan Moore and Broderick Jones. But you're 18 of 20, 152 yards. You throw the game-winning 71-yard touchdown, no interceptions, although Rudolph got away with one of his first mistakes of the season, a near interception early in the game by Ravens safety Marcus Williams, who dropped it. Again, thank the rain for that. But overall, on a day, just given the elements and the opponent, I'm happy with the job that Rudolph did. And Deontay making that play late. Great ball by Rudolph. Just a great yak thrower. It's underrated, but man, do not take that for granted on those slants. The Pickens against the Bengals, Johnson this one. These are almost on the money. And this one in particular, I think, was 100% on the money. Johnson never breaks stride, and a yak type of performance for him. I thought Pat Freiermuth would have a bigger game than he did, but I think Baltimore really tried to take him away. They took Pickens away, and so Johnson kind of became the guy. And of course, a lot of underneath throws, not trying to push the ball too often downfield in this one. But just overall from this offense, doing enough, finishing drives, big plays, long drives. The first touchdown, I think, was a 12-play drive, then a 71-yard touchdown drive to pair that, so you're getting touchdowns in different ways. Really critical. Defensively, have to start with TJ Watt. 2 sacks, NFL leading 19 as of this recording. But the big story here is the knee injury he suffered, the freak fashion in which it happened, colliding with nose tackle Montravius Adams, trying to bat down a pass and landing awkwardly, was in pain. Report is not confirmed by the team. He'll have an MRI on Sunday, but report is an MCL sprain that is likely, if not certainly, going to keep him out of a potential playoff game for Pittsburgh. But we'll see. Overall, don't have definitive word on that. Obviously, he was key prior to getting hurt. 2 sacks, making plays off the edge. The run game contributions were there as well. So if he's out, you're relying on Alex Highsmith, who I thought got held 47 times today. They didn't call it once. I mean, I know sometimes those rip and dips, they don't get called, and I can understand that. But this dude's getting his jersey tugged and just mugged. I mean, they took his lunch money, so I don't know what he's gonna what it's got to take to get a holding call there. But it'll be him, Marcus Golden, who had some pressures and a sack, and Nick Herbig should get some more playing time, obviously, as well. Defensively, stopping the run, bottling that up, and making Baltimore try to play from the air and play behind the sticks and those elements. And of course, with Lamar out and Huntley in, that's really important. But ball search, I mean, you go back to training camp and you hear the phrase from the defenders and the coaches all the time: ball search, ball search, ball search. End the play, look for the football, punch it out, guys wrapped up, go take the football away. And again, given the elements, there were chances more so than usual to take the football away. Mark Robinson, really good game from him, still getting playing time despite Landon Roberts being healthy. Miles Jack being elevated and playing again. He's a downhill guy. That's when he's at his best. Had a sack, had that forced fumble. Pittsburgh unfortunately couldn't capitalize on it, but still a turnover that maybe prevents points from Baltimore in a relatively low-scoring game again, given the conditions and just kind of the state of these teams. So that was good to see. Eric Rowe, the forced fumble second half. I mean, he's really come on strong, and just talk about the contributions from him. I know it's been mentioned some, but he's really had to step up. Patrick Peterson has been maybe gotten a bit more of the focus because he's making the switch from corner to safety and the more known guy and the bigger name, and he's going to have a gold jacket someday and all that kind of stuff. And he deserves credit overall for the transition, although the tackling has been an issue and something he'll have to work on if he wants to make that full-time switch. Safeties tackle more than corners do. But Rowe and Peterson and the inside backers, just a lot of guys that are in roles you didn't anticipate when week 1 happened. Heck, when it was week 8, week 10, you didn't think these things were going to play out the way that they did. But it's still really important because you need that team defense overall with how much this team is hurting. Also want to credit Calvin Austin with a couple solid punt returns. There were some more opportunities for him than probably usual, some open field, open air type punts to run back, but I thought he was good overall. So I had something in my head I wanted to talk about, but there was a thought that's slipping my mind right now. But point is, Pittsburgh doing enough to get the victory. That is all that ultimately matters, and you take the win. When it's Steelers Ravens, you take the win however you can get it, and when it's week 18, everything on the line. It was not technically an elimination game with Pittsburgh. Certainly more paths to make the playoffs with a win than with a loss. So how can Pittsburgh make the playoffs? There's one of 3 ways. One, if the Colts and Texans tie, and they're playing right now around halftime as I'm recording this, and so that's unlikely to happen, but not impossible. So that is on the board. There is a scenario in which Pittsburgh could clinch before Sunday's games kick off. But assuming the Colts and Texans have a winner, then the other 2 ways Pittsburgh can make the postseason is if Jacksonville loses to Tennessee, that's a Sunday 1 o'clock kickoff, or if Buffalo loses to Miami. That's the Sunday night game, the final game of the 2023-2024 NFL regular season. So it's possible that Pittsburgh may not know their fate for another about 24 hours in terms of how that game goes. Also, the Jaguars could tie. If the Jaguars tie the Titans, then Pittsburgh also gets in, but they can't win, or unless Buffalo were to lose to Miami. So those are the 3 scenarios to watch, and we'll see. But if this is it for Pittsburgh, it's going to be an interesting offseason. The questions about quarterback position reports coming out. This team's going to stick by Kenny Pickett for 2024. We're going to have a long offseason to discuss all those things. But, a 3-game winning streak to end the year. The run game looking really strong. Battling, coming together. It's a far cry from a couple weeks ago when they were 7-7, and culture's the talking point, and Tomlin's future is the talking point. It's a different conversation, a much better conversation to be in right now. So my preseason prediction was 10-7 for this team, the 7th seed, wild card. They're 10-7. Will they get the wild card? We'll see. But we'll all be watching tomorrow, becoming big Titans and Dolphins fans. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys following throughout the entire regular season. Check out the site SteelersDepot.com for a ton more content and analysis of this game and the Steelers season. Hopefully, there are more games to play. So thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.